Okay, so let's spill it. What's the latest on Kyrie? Spill it.
Still back to the Mavericks despite everything is my best understanding. Nobody in Dallas, nobody within the Mavericks have any less confidence in this idea that Kyrie Irving is going to be a Maverick. It's pretty simple. There is not anywhere else for him to go. He's not signing with Phoenix for the minimum. That's not happening, guys.
Yeah, I'm with you there because this is what I've been saying for a few months. Is like if it's hard to get in Kyrie's head, and I would not want to try. Like that seems like a fool's errand. However, if I was going to get just a portion of the way there, it seemed very clear that in Brooklyn he was trying to get his money. It's the reason why he straightened up. It's the reason why he ultimately asked for a trade. So getting money seems to be something that's valuable to him, correct?
Yeah, and I've been saying this as well. You're copping off my my little cheat sheet.
That's right.
But that's where things in Brooklyn went wrong. I mean, there was a lot of ways it went wrong. I don't think we have 3 segments and we don't have enough time to get into all that. But it was when they didn't offer him max money. You know, they he had the option of the max extension and they said no. They wanted 2 years. They wanted less. They wanted something that was not a max extension offer. And that's when everything went south in Brooklyn. And then later, he hated the ownership and, didn't like how they handled, his self-errors. And all of that happened, but it was money. And there's just no scenario where I see Kyrie Irving going somewhere on a super cheap discount in any scenario. Like the best I could imagine is that he comes back to Dallas on slightly less than the max. And I think that's what Dallas is hoping for. Dallas has a lot more flexibility if he comes back for $40 million instead of, I believe it's $47.3 million is his max. They have a lot more flexibility if that happens, but that's the only interest to Kyrie Irving's free agency that I see right now.
Sure, but then obviously we have all the scuttlebutt discussion around it. What do we make of the idea that Kyrie is wanting to play free agency so widely, even though we can all kind of see that there's only really one final destination?
Maybe a little bit of posturing, maybe a little bit of Kyrie gets clicks.
Okay.
It could be.
There is a lot of attention when it
yeah.
comes to Kyrie, for sure.
Yeah, and hey, if I were an NBA free agent about to get max money, I would also want to feel wanted. I would want to see how many teams, just like, hey, you want me at the max? But it doesn't seem like any team wants to do that. Even Miami, which was the one team that I was kind of interested, maybe they make a late swoop in. Even that doesn't seem very likely. In fact, I kind of like Miami as a James Harden destination. Anybody?
What are you doing right now?
Yeah.
I mean, okay. I'm sure he would like it.
Hey, Miami, you up?
Accessibility to live? Let's do it.
Yeah.
Among other
I
things.
love Miami.
I know
it looks like it.
He does love Miami.
you look like you should be on South Beach in about 30 minutes.
Yes. If there's one thing I've come to learn about Tim Cato over the course of knowing him, he loves himself some Miami. South Beach has been good to him.
On the Twitch chat.
Oh, is that a sin?
No, not at all.
Wow.
Not at all.
Man loves great cities.
I personally love Miami
with great
myself.
vistas.
Exactly.
In various different ways. On the Twitch chat, Tolo Danny says, is that Michael Cera? And
relax.
That's right. From the 682 on the text line, Reg, you and Cato look like the 2023 White Man Can't Jump remake.
Whoa!
So, all right.
Wait, which one are we?
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like you know I feel like you know how that would go.
You're the Jack Harlow, right?
You know what? That's right. Clearly I'm the man. I'm the ringer.
I'm not gonna lie. I can't unsee it. Though.
Okay.
I can't.
All right.
Because you clearly got the I can't unsee it.
Here's the thing. I've been watching a lot of The Bear lately.
Oh, I have as well. Oh, so you're getting the
and look, you watch Jeremy Allen White on screen and you're a weird looking white dude like me. How are you not trying to be Jeremy Allen White right now?
He is living his best life right now, man.
I don't quite have his triceps, which are really impressive, but we're working at it. We're working on it.
Tim Cato of The Athletic joining us in studio here on the Get Right with Reggie KG. So let's look at it from the Mavericks perspective on what else could be done here. We've heard reports that Bruce Brown is going to meet with the Mavericks when free agency opens. What they could do with the mid-level exception, Grant Williams. There's other guys that are out there. What are you seeing as some of the other things that they can do? Let's assume Kyrie is back, and let's assume he's coming back under that max that allows him to keep that full mid-level there.
I definitely had an understanding that Bruce Brown was their first target if they could have, got a, tampering, nobody talks. But it's very much like that meme where it's like, you can't do that. That's illegal.
By the way,
everybody
I read that
tampers.
in your piece, and I had forgotten about that, and I had a hearty chuckle.
I love a hearty chuckle. I think Bruce Brown was their preference. I feel like he's probably going to LA, but I don't know that for sure. But I do think that a lot of the posturing, a lot of the rumors that are coming out about the Mavericks right now indicate that they're not, going full force into let's make sure we have this full mid-level. Now, if Kyrie signs at about $40 million, that just frees it up and that makes it all very easy. But if he signs at the max and there's not a lot of, rumors, I haven't heard a lot about them trying to get off JaVale McGee's contract, that would open up the full mid-level. That is what they would need to sign Bruce Brown. Maybe they know Kyrie's coming back for 160. That would be something that would give them the flexibility to open up the full exception that would let them go get Bruce Brown. And maybe that's how it's all going to play out. My impression is that it isn't that, that they don't have somebody directly lined up. And if you really think about it, I've always thought this entire time that the full mid-level, the way that they're going to use that is going to be on a wing. It's going to be easier to go get a center to play in front of Derek Lively II, who I don't think is going to be in the rotation game one. I feel like it was a trade for a center, go sign with the exception a wing. But there's pretty much two wings that I'd be interested in signing if I'm the Mavericks for that full mid-level for $12.4 million. And it's Bruce Brown and it's Grant Williams. And both of them do not look like they're headed to Dallas. And so it may be a situation where Dallas is either going to divide that up, like they're going to prioritize getting it, but they're going to divide it up. Maybe they're going to go get a cheap center. We saw the Andre Drummond rumors today. Obviously he opted into his deal, so he's not going to be a free agent that they're going to sign with a mid-level, but maybe they're still going to try to trade for him. Or maybe that's just an indication that they're trying to get a cheap center who can play in front of Lively and, can play with Maxi Kleber and possibly Dwight Powell, although I don't think it's a guarantee that he's back either. But they still need a wing. But all the wing targets, the Jalen McDaniels and the Kelly Oubre, maybe. But more realistically, maybe go.
He's not bad. It's just uninspired.
Yeah, he's not really the 3 and D guy they're looking for. He's a 3 and no D. But
don't do that.
There's a few.
You're a whole adult with a child and a wife.
And I'm sitting here with the new version of White Man Can't Jump.
Okay, all right.
There we go. Exactly.
It's a family drama now. So, but yeah, I just think that the full mid-level for Dallas probably would have been reserved to 2 people. If I were them, it would be reserved to 2 potential free agents, and I just don't see that as something I'm expecting to happen. I'm not saying for sure that it's not, but it's not something at this exact moment that I think is exceptionally likely, or at least where the Mavs summer is headed.
So one of the interesting kind of phenomenon of the last 24 hours or so is just like players opting in or re-signing to contracts that don't prohibit them from being traded. And I'm wondering if that will kind of show itself in, the way that this goes. Because, you were basically talking about the idea that maybe the Mavs go from a trade for a big, but, sign a wing perspective. If they maybe flip those or go in a different direction, who are the wings that could be out there? Because I know that you referenced DeAndre Hunter, but I know he just got his money.
And that's the thing. There's not a lot of wings to trade for, right? Okay. Taurean Prince is a candidate to be traded before July 1st, I believe, if I have my math correct, but then he's going to be a free agent. That's another guy that you're not going to give $12 million to, but you might get 7. And so he makes more sense as pretty much every wing that seems realistic to me on the market are ones that are not trade focused. And I think that's where a lot of this Ayton stuff came from, which I'm sure we'll touch on at some point soon. But to me, the wings that are obtainable are free agents, and the centers that are obtainable are tradable. And that is where it has made sense to me that the Mavericks would kind of prioritize their focus as they go into free agency. But there's so much up in the air right now. And the craziest thing, and the number one reason why I would never, ever want to work in a front office, other than the fact that nobody would hire me, it's just
I think you'd be surprised. I think it'd happen.
I don't want that. Okay. I don't want that. You know, I've got a you know, a Hulu show to start on.
That's right.
You know,
That's
next
right.
summer. So it's just like there's so many moves that depend on other moves. It's like revolving doors, and the one that you think is open closes right before you want to pounce on it. But you also got to be prepared for all the closed ones that might open for a moment at a time.
Right.
And you got to be prepared to make a decision right then, right there, and say, is this the best move? Is there another sliding door that's going to open later that makes more sense for this team? And that uncertainty and the conviction that you have to go in and say, we're doing this move despite what might come later, but we don't know is going to come later. I don't know how they do it. Yeah, it's a very stressful job.
It's a very tough target to hit. It's what we've all talked about for the last how many months. Do you have any more comfort in the idea or their capability of doing that after seeing what they did draft night?
I mean, yes and no. We're still so soon into the new front office that I think that this is a different front office. I've started to see their priorities a little bit differently. I think that this is I think they really value athleticism and defense and one trend that we've seen from Jaden Hardy and we've seen it from Derek Lively. Both these players were number 1 high school recruits at one point, or maybe Hardy was number 2. But these are players that fit a certain identity that I think Dallas is pushing for. So I do think there's differences, but I wouldn't say that I have confidence or not confidence. It's just it's still so early, and the way that you judge front offices is not slapping a grade on what they did on a draft night.
Sure.
It's 5 years looking at all encompassing. How did each move build to the next move, and how at the end of these interconnected moves, these interconnected transactions that the team has made over many years, many seasons, many off-season periods and trade deadlines, how did they all come together to build the best team and build a team that they were envisioned when they set out to do it? And so it's just really hard to know right now.